At the end of August, many parents will start to feel like something's missing. Tracking down the real cause of their grief will lead to just one answer, you guys: the fact that they miss their kids. The Loud Quiet podcasters Clancy and Rick Denton both say that there are things to do to make you feel better, and they're here to share what they did after their nest became empty. Welcome back to you guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad to have you guys here because that grief that we were talking about really is real. You guys have been through it twice. And so before your daughter left for college, you asked Rick one question: am I gonna like us after we send her off? And that's a real question. It's reality. And I think most people are honestly scared of the answer. Were you scared of the answer?
You know, I don't know that I was really expecting an answer. I love this man, okay? I think it was just, we had had a kid in our house for 21 years.
Yeah.
And it was going back to just going to be the two of us. That was unknown territory. And I think there are a lot of parents out there that are probably thinking that same thing right now.
Yes, indeed. Can I ask you, because she asked you the question, but were you kind of feeling those same feelings? Were you thinking the same thing?
I don't know that I was actually able to express it as directly as she expressed it. It was almost that her question unlocked that concern, that reality that we need to actually deal with this. I think that at that period of time, it's the senior year, everything is so busy, you're just almost overwhelmed with all the activity, that there was a real risk of suddenly falling off that cliff of the kid is gone.
Right.
And then you are truly empty nesters. So her question, while it absolutely freaked me out, because she said, what if I don't like us when we leave? But actually what I heard was, what if I don't like you when she leaves? And it allowed us to then have that space to have that real conversation of what does this actually mean to be in the empty nest together when there aren't kids that are really driving what your life is going to be like.
So let me ask you this, because you just touched on how busy those months leading up to actual college drop-off are as far as preparation. So did you guys really have any time to prepare yourselves for what was coming as far as the empty nest?
Well, I think preparing for the empty nest really does start when your kids are still in the nest. You have to start when those kids are young. We were very intentional about doing date nights. Even when we couldn't afford a babysitter, we would throw a frozen pizza in the oven and watch Friends on our VHS tape that was recorded. Yes, that shows how old we are. But you just have to start pouring into your relationship when they are still in the nest, because then you will find ways to get through that first part of being the empty nesters.
Make the date nights happen. Make it a priority. I hear that from couples all the time, but actually enacting it is two different things. So I'm so glad that you were able to say, listen, we put a frozen pizza in the oven, the kids went to bed early, and we drank wine and we watched some Friends. That's the way to go about it. But couples spend years centering their lives around their kids, and so that adjustment is hard. And so how were you able to then focus on your relationship after they were gone?
A lot of it is choice. Like, it is truly choosing that this is going to be the person that I am going to focus on. It is making sure that while I'm sad that the kids are gone, it's not living in that sadness. It is truly understanding this is what our life is now, and this is the person that I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with. And what does that look like now after those 20, and in many cases with families, 30 or even many more years that there weren't kids in the picture? It's a choice to almost reconnect with what was it like back at the beginning when the kids weren't around.
When you first started dating.
Right.
No one talks about that life adjustment. Everybody talks about, for the child, how big of a life change it will be to go off and start being an adult and all the things, but no one genuinely talks about the hardship that parents go through as far as finding themselves and then finding themselves in their relationship again. And you guys actually didn't go straight home after you dropped your daughter off. Tell us what you did. You had a little weekend together.
When we got back from dropping her off, I told Rick, I said, I just don't want to be in the house that first weekend. You know, we had our jobs, so we were busy that week, but I said, I can't be here. We're not doing Friday Night Lights. We're not having the activities the next day with her. And so we just went to Fort Worth. You know, we were like, let's just go. We didn't have time to plan some big trips, so we just spent the weekend over there, and it was great. It just got us away from the house and just let us be us as a couple and just have a great time that weekend.
It was a little staycation and gave you a little
great.
buffer before you had to go back into reality,
Yes.
right? Okay, so let's talk about the fact that you say there are 3 things couples can do that first month, which is so critical. You say start saying yes.
Well, that example right there is a great example of say yes. Clancy said, I don't want to be in the house, so the answer is yes, we're going to leave the house. We didn't really know exactly what we were going to do when we went over to Fort Worth, but we wandered the city, we enjoyed the museums, we found ourselves walking around downtown and thought, oh, well, that's an interesting looking bar, let's turn in there. And it turned out that we were getting into a conversation with a bartender in the bar there, and there was a particular drink that Clancy wanted. They had no idea what it was. So she explained what that drink was. They ended up naming the drink the Clancy going forward.
Stop it right now.
That saying yes, just that first weekend, then became a theme that we used throughout the entire year of we are going to choose to say yes to any new idea, any new experience, even to the point that, well, by the end of the year, we felt like we had to rediscover no. But saying yes was a vital part of that first.
I love that. Be a tourist in your own city. There's plenty of things that we have not seen. And you know what? I always say we do not use our free will enough. And going on a little side quest, it really does liven up the day. But what you're avoiding, I'm just realizing when you didn't want to go home that first weekend, was the loud quiet. Literally what your podcast is. That quietness of nobody being there, nobody stomping on the stairs, nobody playing their music. That's hard.
Yes.
That's hard indeed. Okay, well, the podcast is absolutely incredible. You got a little taste of it here this morning. Tell us how people can listen to you if they're in this journey right now, going through the exact same thing that you guys went through.
Yes, we would love for everyone to listen to our podcast, find our book. They can connect with us at theloudquiet.com.
And it's just that easy. All right, we're keeping all the parents in our thoughts as they prepare to send their kids off. Thank you guys for being here this morning.
Thanks so
Thanks for
much.
having us.